Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, Sir Akbar? I hope you are in a good health. So today, my team and I will be presenting on the purpose and effect of contract in Islamic microfinance. Before we start, let me introduce my team members. The first member is Itra bin Sazali, and he will be presenting on ways Islamic microfinance remove riba in the system. Secondly, we have Dingi, who will be presenting on the permission to work in a bank in non-Muslim country. After that, we have Nurul Ifa binti Muhammad Zubaidillah, and she will be presenting on Islamic microfinance as a tool to reduce poverty. Then we have Dina Pradu, who will present on the reason of higher rate in the contract of Islamic microfinance compared to the conventional banking. And then we have Mariam, who will talk on the major issues of Islamic microfinance. On the other hand, we have Usaidul Islam, and he will be talking on the ways Islamic microfinance encourages stability in investment. And last but not least, I, Maisara binti Abdul Rahim, will be presenting on the differences between Islamic microfinance and conventional microfinance. Let's get to it. On the screen, we have the differences between Islamic and commercial microfinance. However, I would like to explain briefly on microfinance in general. According to Wikipedia, microfinance in general is a category of financial services targeting individuals and small businesses who lack access to conventional banking and related services. Microfinance also includes microcredit, the provision of small loans to poor clients, such as savings and checking accounts. Microfinance services are designed to reach excluded customers, usually poorer population segments, possibly socially marginalized or geographically more isolated, and to help them to become self-sufficient. Microfinance means a program which extends small loans to very poor people for self-employment projects, which generate income in allowing them to take care of themselves and their families. There are several characteristics that distinguish Islamic microfinance and commercial microfinance. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the source of fund, or also known as liabilities. In commercial microfinance, they are providing external funds and savings of clients, which are the same to Islamic microfinance, but in this case, Islamic microfinance gathers sources from Islamic charitable sources, for example, zakat and wakaf. Zakat is a payment made annually under Islamic law on certain kinds of property and used for charitable and religious purposes. It is also one of the 5 pillars of Islam. For wakaf, wakaf is an endowment made by a Muslim to a religious, educational, or charitable cause. Secondly, the mode of financing as for commercial microfinance is interest-based. However, in Islamic microfinance, it is using Islamic financial instrument. Thirdly, on the view of financing the poor, commercial finance may have left out the poor people. The reason being is because they are charging interest that most of the poor people could not afford to pay back. Islamic microfinance take care of the poor by targeting wealth creation and to provide solutions for raising the living standards of the poor. Lastly, the fund transfer for commercial microfinance is on cash, while Islamic microfinance use goods instead. So that is all from me, and the presentation will be continued by Sister Mariam. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Miriam Ali. Um, um, and in my part, I'm going to talk about the major issues of Islamic microfinance. First, Islamic microfinance isn't for poor people. In fact, the loans can make the poor poorer if they don't have cash flow to repay the debt. These individuals who doesn't possess technical skill need to grow well. Those are economically inactive would find it hard to attain support from profitable macroeconomic macrofinance institution. These individuals must be provided with their basic needs such as food, shelter, guaranteed employment, such safety net may be funded through charity, which is type of zakat. Second, most confidential microfinance provide high interest rate compared to other banks for some reason. One, the return of investment business are very high, and it has high, or the second, it has high administration charge monitoring costs, which makes it riskier than traditional financing security. According to Islamic debt financing, there are limited harmful effects of financial risk of using fixed rate financing compared to interest-based debt. This is because the latter does not allow for compounding debt if they not able to pay it back. Either way, interest, whether it's high or low, is rejected by Muslim as a sample of riba. Third, one of the most significant impact of microfinance in a Muslim that it's empower women. The issue of women, working women, was sensitive in Muslim society. So to solve this problem, the Islamic microfinance institution tried to shift the focus from women empowerment to family empowerment. Other Islamic finance, microfinance institution have found suitable way of empowering women through gender-separate ownership of the financing entity, and by involving different evaluation of loan application by women who developed their own gender-sensitive product and strategy for the future.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For the next part is, why does the contract of Islamic microfinance have the higher rate of payment if compared with the traditional banking? The difference of Islamic microfinance and conventional banking. First of all, recognize the foremost difference between Islamic banking and conventional banking system. Islamic banking is an ethical banking system, and its procedures is based totally on Islamic laws. It is asset-based financing in which exchange of factors prohibited by Islam is no longer allowed. For example, you can take a mortgage for a wine shop. On the other hand, conventional banking is an ethical banking system based totally on man-made laws. It is profit-oriented, and its reason is to make money through interest. According to the question, Islamic banks to make profit and satisfy to borrowers one of cash. They have to conduct transactions that do not violate Islamic regulation by way of searching for a lower contract that can reap the required goal. Understanding Murabaha. Firstly, in a Murabaha contract of sale, a patron petitions a financial institution to buy an item on their behalf. Complying with the client's request, the financial institution establishes a contract setting the price and earning for the item, with reimbursement normally in installment because a short instead than riba. This type of loan is felony in Islamic countries. Islamic banks are prohibited from charging hobby on loans according to the religious tenet that cash is solely a medium of trade and has no inherent value. So, banks should to cost a flat charge for persevering with the everyday operation. Even though many argue that this is truly any any other approach of charging interest. However, the difference lies in the structure of the contract. In a murabaha contract for sale, the financial institution buys an asset and then sells the asset again to the patron with a profit charge. This type of transaction is halal or valid in accordance to Islamic Sharia. The principle of use of murabaha shape of financing is generally used in place of loans in numerous sectors. Let's see for example of murabaha. Villa would like to purchase a boat that sells for $1,000 from Billy Boat Shop. To do so, Villa would contact a murabaha bank that would purchase the boat from Billy's boat shop for $1,000 and sell it to Villa for $109,000 to do paid in installment over a 12-month period. The amount Villa will pay is a constant quantity to a financial institution that owns the asset and there is no interest charge involved. Also, if Villa defaults on any payment, there are no additional fees that he would incur. The additional quantity Villa can pay over the value fee from the boat store is in effect a 3% loan. But because it is applied as a constant payment without any extra cost, it is allowed with the help of Islamic law.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Ifah binti Muhammad Supaidillah. My question in the term paper is, does Islamic microfinance can be used as a tool in order to reduce poverty? Firstly, what is poverty? Poverty is a condition or state in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and necessity for a minimum standard of living. In addition, it can lead to other problems such as poor education, malnutrition, and unemployment. For example, a poor person is unable to get or improve their level of education at school or university due to lack of money, and later they become unemployed. When I'm doing my research, I found that the principles of Islamic microfinance itself is a very promising one, which is the first one is their accessibility. The poor people and deserving segments of the population need to have access to economic and financial assistance at all times without any problems or restrictions. This will be very helpful because the effort in reducing poverty among the poor people is not an easy journey. Next, for assessment, the financier or the investor in microfinance should be able to assess the financial health of the poor to comprehend what their skill set is and what they can do with their free time. A basic evaluation matrix needs to be in place and identified by the evaluator. Afterwards, one of the principles of Islamic microfinance is transformation. From post-evaluation of the situation of the poor, Islamic microfinance should be able to transform the unproductive assets or skill sets of the beneficiaries into income generation. This is where group assessment plays an important role. Then, Islamic microfinance is providing technical assistance. Islamic microfinance is not simply about extending microcredit to the needy people, but also involve technical and professional assistance to guide them in the right direction, since in the middle of their journey in improving their life for a better future, they might be lost of what to do. In conclusion, regarding my question, Islamic microfinance might be one of the ideal approaches to alleviate poverty, but there have been no truly successful implementations. Even so, Islamic microfinance can be used as a tool to provide solutions for raising the living standards of the poor.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Itra Azali. What I'm going to talk about is how can Islamic microfinance remove riba in the system. This is an overview of riba. What is riba? Increase, adding, or growth number of things such as interest, also known as usuri, is prohibited in Islam because there is an excess value in transaction without the mutual consent of both parties. No mutual benefit because the benefit only gained by the parties that gain the riba. What is riba in Islamic banking and finance? As you can see, conventional banking has riba. Islamic banking is free, riba free, because you only have goods and services and money. The Quran and Sunnah reveal and mention that usuri is prohibited by Allah. It's unlawful to continue the transaction between parties. Majority scholars agree that riba is prohibited in Islam because compound interest is still going in today with conventional banking. There is an addition of the initial value. Allah has made trade lawful and forbidden interest. Al-Baqarah, ayat 275. What Islam say about interest, usuri, riba and sud by Mufti Bank?
One of those things that Allah has spoken about that is absolutely prohibited is something known as riba. Riba meaning interest or usury. It is the dirtiest, filthiest wealth that one could have. As much as it seems like, wow, this looks like, figures. From 10 it became 100. From 100 it became 1,000. There is no blessing in that wealth. No barakah at all. You will have it, you will eat it. It will result in sickness, physical and spiritual. And it will result in discord, disunity, problems in the home, difficulties in your family. Your children don't obey you because you haven't obeyed Allah. Many sicknesses and illnesses that we have, problems that we face are connected with the fact that our income is faulty.
How do they replace the riba? Sharia compliance guidelines. Sharia compliance has no element of riba. Intervene in the person moving riba to conclude a contract. Contract in Islam needs mutual consent between both parties and must meet a mutual benefit. Covers both credit, cash, and price sale. Contract of buy. A Quran verse about riba, Surah 2, verse 278 and 279.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله.
Financing technique that Islamic microfinance use. Concept of profit and loss, such as mudarabah and musyarakah, very suitable in replacing riba, comply with financial requirements of the productive sector of the economy, and accomplish Islamic socio-economic objective. Mudarabah is participatory arrangement, capital is given, and direct use for business reasons. Under accordance with contract, benefit from the company be divided according to a specified proportion, without taking account any fixed sum for any party. Musyarakah, participatory agreement. Two or more parties join into business partnership agreement with well-defined amount of capital, and all supplier of capital are obligated to participate in management of the business. Profit of the business shared according to the ratio agreed between parties, while losses handled strictly in proportion to the capital invested by each person. So this is a visual of mudarabah and musyarakah. That's all from me. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Ding Yi. Today I want to present question is it permissible to work in a bank in a non-Muslim country? For this question, these controversial issues all come from one reason, that is riba. Some scholars think it's not permissible for a Muslim to work in a bank that deal with riba, even if she has nothing to do with it. But she is giving the employees to do the work with riba, and she is helping them with their calculation of interest. It means that you are helping the people who do the haram things, so you are the same seem like them. According to the Hadith, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Curses the one who consumes riba and the one who pays it, the one who writes it down, and the two who say it." And she said, "They are all the same." And according to the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "But do not help one another in sin and transgression." Therefore, some scholars think that Muslims are not allowed to work in the bank with riba. But the other scholars think if you can only make a living and take care of your family by working in the bank of non-Muslim country, that is permissible. But do not forget to repent to Allah and pray for forgiveness. So working in interest-based bank is not the normal choice of working for Muslim. You are allowed to work there only because for you it's pretty difficult to find a lawful way of making a living. Allah will make it easy for us. So in conclusion, if a person is already employed at such a bank with riba, she must actively thinking another job with a permissible source of income. And many scholars have permitted that she is available of his income for the needs of himself and his family, or the will seeking forgiveness from Allah and for his action and praying to him to extract him from such a situation. Therefore, if the person is not working at a bank already, he must avoid the offer and looking elsewhere. It's unlawful to take up this employment. Thank you, everyone. That's all from me, and thank you for your attention.
Assalamu alaikum. Before understanding how Islamic microfinance encourages stability in investments, we need to know first what is Islamic microfinance and what is the relationship between conventional microfinancing and Islamic microfinance. So, Islamic microfinance is microfinance which complies with the principles of Islam to provide microfinancing services within the limits of the Sharia. And the relationship between conventional microfinancing and Islamic financing is Islamic microfinance takes the mechanism of conventional microfinance and modifies it in a way to avoid the taking of riba and other harmful things such as interest. So our next slide is about how Islamic microfinance encourages stability in investments. Our first point is investments are approached with a slower, insightful decision-making process comparing to the normal conventional financing. Next bullet point is companies whose financial practices and operation are too risky are usually kept away by Islamic financing companies. Islamic microfinance refers to the prohibition of financial service in accordance with Sharia law principles and rules. Sharia does not permit receipt and payment of riba, garar, maasir, short sales or financing activities that is considered harmful to the society. So that means it deducts the risky situations. It also does some intensive audits and analysis to promote according to the Sharia law. And lastly, our bullet point is risks and rewards of a business transaction should have a real economic purpose without undue speculation. Islamic microfinance does not promote the exploitation of either parties, which means both the parties must share the risks and rewards of the business transaction, and the transaction should have a real economic purposes.